I think that there's a life lesson to be learned here, that no matter how tragic something may be or how bad something may be, you have to really find the good in it and to do something positive. And I'm at a place now where I feel like I don't want Aaron to die in vain, and I think he's got such a large platform that could really be useful to society to talk about this issue, to openly talk about it, and there's not a stigma that surrounds it. We're here today because I have two siblings who've passed away, and I think that there's a really important story to tell here and a life lesson to be taught. How we got here, it's been a long road. There's been a lot of trauma within the family and a lot of things that have happened. I often think about now, how did we get to this place? And I think addiction has been a major issue in my family. And not only is there a biological basis to it, but there really is a genetic component there. And this is something that runs pretty heavily in my family. To put things in perspective, I was 4 years old when Nick started in the Backstreet Boys. Baby, you better quit playing games with my heart. And when they started doing really well and more money started coming into the family, things changed for everyone. Fame and money really took over in the family, and us as there's the girls in the family who we were really neglected. The focus really became on the boys in the family and what they were doing. And I think as all these exciting things were going on, and brothers were on tour, and were traveling the world and living this life, at home there was a lot of dysfunction going on. And my parents, because of their addiction issues, did not really focus on the children and what we needed, which was, freedom to, feel safe within the home. I think life would be very different if my parents, got to a place where they realized that children need to be children. And I think that my brothers were continuously working like adults, and their childhood was stripped from them in a sense. And they weren't able to really hang out with their friends and be social and to learn what life is about. And I think Aaron, imagine being a child and constantly being told, go on this tour, go do this, and we'll buy you a boat, or we'll buy you a diamond necklace. And he just wanted to be home with his friends and to be a kid. And I think that when he turned 18, he got to a place where he was like, I'm never gonna let anybody tell me what to do again. Aaron was a really funny, just humble guy, and he walked into a room and really just lit up the space. He knew how to work every angle and how to make people laugh and smile and have fun. And I think that as he got older, that really, was defining in his adulthood as well, where he wanted to be loved so badly, and he wanted people to be proud of him. And it got to a point where there weren't healthy boundaries, where so many people, so many enablers were being let in.
I just want to bring you guys back together because I'm tired of being apart. We were a very tight unit. That's why we got as far as we got in the first place, because of our love.
Back in 2006, we had all moved out to California. Nick had called us one day and he said, move out to California, we're filming a reality show. We all moved out here and we filmed House of Carters. And there was a lot going on during that time. We had all not lived together in a very long time. The family was broken, but it was Nick's way of trying to mend things with the siblings. And I'll never forget the last day that we were at the house. Nick sat us down all in the living room and he said, who wants to go to therapy? I'll pay for it. And out of all my siblings, I was the only one who said I would go. And sadly, my siblings did not take that offer. But I really think that that was a defining moment for me to be able to get to a place where, you know, I needed help. I had to break the cycle. And I think therapy is really important, and taking care of your mental health, because we all have mental health. Everyone does. After Aaron passed away, I just got to a place where it was like, how can we be in this position that I've lost another sibling to addiction? And I don't want him to die in vain, and I don't want Leslie to die in vain. I really felt like something needed to be done, and I had reached out to Honor Sleeves, which is the Children's Mental Health Foundation, and decided to throw the Songs for Tomorrow benefit concert to continue the conversation about mental health and the stigma that surrounds it. I hope to accomplish, bringing awareness to that children really need help. And it's not about preventing, it's about early intervention, and to create healthy conversations with our children. Honor Sleeves really provides a lot of resources. I often get asked how things turned out different for me. And I think that it's a few different things. I think one, I was in school the longest out of all my siblings. I was in a structured and a disciplined environment longer than the rest of them. I also think that I was very social. I always had friends, and I would go to my friend's house and sit and have dinner with their families. And I think there's something really important about sitting at a dinner table at the end of your day and to talking about what's going on. And that's where Honor Sleeves, that's why this organization is so important to me, because it really does start with children. It's much easier to raise a strong child than to fix a broken adult. And that's where we are today. And I think Leslie and Aaron's story can be an example of that. That if they would have gotten the help that they needed, if my parents would have had the resources when they were younger, maybe things would have turned out differently. Because my parents were repeating a cycle that they grew up in. It's a generational dysfunction issue to sweep things under the rug and to not talk about how you're feeling. And I think as a society today, we're at a place where parents and caregivers are, wanting to do better for their kids, and they're wanting to educate themselves. Knowledge is power. And I think that the more people that speak up about this, the better off we'll be. I hope that Aaron's legacy will be more than what happened to him in the last few years of his life. As a family, we did not recognize that Aaron. I hope that people just remember him for the good person that he was, and not for what he became during his addiction. I think that if Aaron saw everything that I was doing, which I know he's here, I think he'd be really proud of me.